Okay, so we'll get started. So today we're going to really be looking at Bluebeam Studio projects and sessions, particularly for collaboration. So that's our webinar for today. I intend to go for probably a good sort of half an hour, really going through Studio and projects and sessions, how they can be worked separately together for your project collaboration. And the different features and where you would maybe use projects and where sessions you would use sessions instead. So just how we can mix the two. So our agenda, just a bit of a rough agenda, really focusing on Studio sessions. I'll also show Studio projects, how they work, just some common workflows. So things you would sort of do from both. I'll also show a dashboard. I'll try and get a dashboard up and show that. They're quite a good way to, especially for people who aren't used to Bluebeam, you can use them to basically have a dashboard where you provide those links and have everything linked through there. There will be opportunity for Q&A. Please, if you have any questions, do put them in the chat and I will try and address them as we go. A little bit about Cloud A2K. So we're a company that fosters innovation through both software and hardware solutions. Consulting, training, development, and managed services. We do have highly knowledgeable and industry experienced staff. So we really like to pride ourselves that we're industry experienced. I really came into this training role 3 years ago. Before then, I was in the industry using Bluebeam, creating buildings, projects, etc., day in, day out. We've got staff in the AEC fields, infrastructure and manufacturing. We enhance your organizational capabilities and deliver project outcomes and differentiate from the competition. Bluebeam, go digital and transform the way you build. So we're really looking at using this as the paperless solution to collaboration and the like. And it really gives you that one source of truth, which is what I love about Bluebeam. There's no more of having your 20 markups all stapled together, losing one, who said what. It's all in there, all the metadata is contained, things that really minimizes your rework and standardizes your company's responses, etc. So you can have a standard data set and the like. More than 1.6 million professionals worldwide use Bluebeam. This is probably a bit dated. It's probably well over 2.5 million, I would assume by now. It was founded in 2002. Again, has well over probably 2 million users around the globe by now, widely used throughout the globe. There are over 30 Bluebeam user groups. Please join on a user group. You can find them generally through LinkedIn, or there are a few other places you can find them. I think a few are on Meetup as well. So if you do go through Meetup, you can probably find, there is a Sydney bug, which I'm quite active in. Speaking of which, I don't know when the next meeting is, but I assume it is pretty soon, usually towards the start of the month. 90% of the top ANZ contractors use Bluebeam. A little bit about myself. I'm a certified Bluebeam trainer, certified Revit professional, and I do a lot of presentations in the industry. I do have a structural engineering associate diploma, which is a certificate 4. Over 25 years industry experience, worked at tier 1, mid-tier and smaller consultancies, doing everything from small portal frame sheds up to Metro Martin Place, which is in the heart of Sydney, which is a 50-storey large commercial tower with 7 basement levels and metro interchange and rail interchange, etc. Been using Bluebeam for about 8 odd years now. And I am on LinkedIn if you do want to have a look at my work history there. And that's probably enough about me. The user interface, we're not really, like I do a lot of these webinars and we're sort of focused on different areas. We're not really focusing on the how of Bluebeam, more just the studio. So hopefully we're all reasonably familiar with the basic interface. I'm not going to really go through it here. Probably the main things to note are your panel and your panel access and your markups list down the bottom. The power of the PDF. So it's a project efficiency and collaboration solution, and it is built specifically for the construction industry. So it's great for RFIs. I've usually used it like in the engineering field as well, more so than the actual sort of construction and RFI and punch lists and the like. It's great for estimating as well. So you can really take out all that metadata, get wall areas, roofing areas, any metadata you choose to either read out of the PDF or add into the PDF. It will help you increase your revenue, reduce your costs, and minimize the risks. So like I was saying before, when you get that sort of one source of truth, you're not looking for, someone's post-it note on some set of drawings from 2 months ago. It's in the PDF. That information is there, and it avoids your rework, etc. Studio sessions and projects. Now, this is a great slide. So it really just lets you know about the difference between both sessions and projects, and what you can and can't do. This information came directly from the Bluebeam website, so it can be got from there. Sessions, you can have up to 500 active participants in a session. So just to explain again the difference between studio session and studio projects. Studio sessions are the only real lifetime PDF collaboration solution. So you can host a PDF in the cloud. That PDF can be up to 1 gig, which is a hell of a lot of drawings. I don't think I've ever seen anything sort of even near sort of maybe sort of 20 meg or even sort of 400 meg, but gigabyte, yeah, you're not going to get to that. Even 10 megabytes of markups. It only does support the PDF format, the studio session. You can have up to 5,000 files up in a session. How much space can you use? Unlimited. So you can have multiple sessions, multiple attendees, multiple files. You can manage the access rights. So this is quite important as well. If you do have someone that has sort of left the company or something like that, you can deny them access to the studio session. You can also transfer their markups from one attendee to another. One of the things you can't do in sessions is you can't really tamper with someone else's markup. So this is where you get that data integrity. So if you put a markup on and say this carpet needs to be changed to timber or needs to be changed to blue carpet, no one can change that comment. They can reply to the comment, or they can mark the comment as questionable or something. They can change the status of it, but they can't change your markup. You can't really get the previous file revisions because it's an active PDF. So it's sort of just not the way it really works. That is an active PDF that you put up in a session. You can get notifications, both give and receive. And if you are the host of the studio session, you can get a report out every day saying, such and such made these comments, etc. So you can get like a bit of a report saying like what that user activity was. As I was just saying, yes, you can send and receive those markup or / notifications as well. One of the big things that I will focus a bit on today is, do all attendees need a license of review? No, they don't. If you have a live PDF up in a session, attendees can download the Bluebeam and use it in an unlicensed / sort of view mode, and they can fully participate in the session, even making the markups that people normally would. Why do they allow this? Because they really want you, as almost in that head contractor role, to really be able to have that confidence that if you send a studio session out, even Joe the tiler, Bill the plumber, they can all participate fully in the session. So you as a head contractor, you can let all those people participate fully. They can make comments, they can answer back, etc., put in RFIs. It can all be done in Bluebeam. Everyone doesn't need that license. Projects are going to different. They are basically cloud storage. So you can put up, again, you can have unlimited access to as many attendees as you want, unlimited files, any file format. So you can put up JPEGs, videos, MP4s, podcasts. You can literally put any file format up there you want. unlimited file size, unlimited markups, unlimited space. I am really starting to use that as my cloud storage solution, purely because it's unlimited. I love it and use it for everything. And you can, again, access those rights, so you can give access to anyone you want, or you can limit that access, and you can store previous file revisions. So if you had something like a spec, even drawings, like of course, specifications, if you had an updated revision, you can actually store the, push the new one up, and it will actually retain the old specification up there as well, or the old drawing. So you can, if you needed to access like revision A or something, and it was currently on like revision K, you can still access that old file. Obviously you could delete it if you really needed to, but you can have all that there as your sort of DMS, your document management system. It's quite a good way to work. Anyway, enough with the PowerPoint. We're going to get into it. I'm going to show how it works. Do a few things and just some normal sort of workflows that we would go through. So do allow me to bring up review. Do excuse the amount of windows that I have up. This is, as we know, the basic interface. Another thing I should probably point out, standard CAD extreme versions, doesn't matter. Sessions and Bluebeam Studio is something that comes free with every version of Bluebeam. It's not an add-on as such, it is part of Bluebeam, and it doesn't matter which version you have. Studio is accessed here through your panel access. Just as a few sort of little tips, tricks, and all that as we go through it, if for some unknown reason it is not in your panel access, you may not just be showing the icon. Do right click, make sure you show, and make sure you are showing the studio. We can access it simply by selecting it, which will open the panel. Another thing to note, we do have an Australian server. A couple of years ago, I think when Review 20 first came out, was when we first had the Australian server, which is great, especially if you're doing any sort of government work, like especially defense government work. One of the constraints, or one of the issues, was that you did need to keep the data residency in Australia. They weren't happy with the files being sent overseas. So a few larger companies and the like, they did find it a bit of a pinch point that they couldn't use Studio because it didn't have an Australian server. We either had to use the US or the UK. You can still get onto the Australian server in Review 19. I believe it did come in an update. If not, you do need to go into your preferences, and you can go to your studio and your servers. And all you need to do is add a new server down here, and you just need to put in the bluebeamstudio.com.au as the address. Your email and password, your own email and password. If you haven't signed in or haven't created a user, do that. So you can see here, I can pick which server I want to choose. Generally, I always used to use the US server beforehand. Do be aware that they're different servers. So obviously, if you do host something on the US server, you can't join into it from the AU server. So just to explain that, if you put a project up on the Studio AU, they do need to have an Australian sign-in. You can't access it from the US server. So do be aware of that. I'm going to sign in. In other words, I do have like an account in the Australian server, which is under my same email address. I've got an account under the UK server, and I've also got an account under the American server, all using the same email address. So simply, if you haven't signed in or been in here before, do create an account. Literally takes 2 minutes. You could probably do it quicker depending on your typing, and if you've got autofill. Do put in your name, display name, email, etc. The password doesn't need to be that 88 to 32 characters, uppercase, lowercase, special character. Confirm that, create your account. Come back, sign in, put in your email. And put your password in. which hopefully I can remember. I wasn't here that long ago. It will retain your sign in as well. I obviously just have disabled that to be able to access that now. And here we go. So I'm currently in a session. So it's the one that looks like a whiteboard. If you do hover on it, it'll come up sessions. You've also got your projects here as well. Just to sort of show you a project, we will go through projects first, just because we're here. So I've got a dashboard in here. And you can see, like, it basically brings up, like, basically like the dashboard, you know what I mean? So this is just a standard dashboard. You can see where I've got files in here. The settings, like I was saying before, so I've got the project settings here. This is where I can, manage my notifications, etc., and go through that. I've also got the user access. So at the moment, I have unrestricted users. So I do feel free if you want to grab that number. You can join a studio project just by going to join a project. If you did want to join one, you can join by number. Sorry, I won't do that. I can go to join a project. If you did need to join one, usually the best way to do it is actually to get invited to it. I could go to add here and I could actually join. So this is the plus here and I could actually join. And that's where I could put in the studio ID of one of those and access this project. So this is just my dashboards. You can see here that I've got drawings up. I've got owner manuals. I do have a 3D PDF up there as well. I've got some images, owner manuals, etc. I'll just open a drawing. I'm not going to make any changes here. I do have some specifications. So there's a specification here. You can see at the moment, I've got that set to sync. So what I can do is if I right click, and one of the tricks, another sort of tip and trick is if in doubt in Bluebeam, right click. If we say, if in doubt, right click it out in Bluebeam. You can see I can simply open it. I can check it out. So I could actually check this out, which I will do in a moment. I can download a copy. I can rename it, add it to a new session directly from the project. So what I'm going to do is check it out. You'll see that it will put a little blue sort of checkout box on it. And then I can simply open it. I'm not going to open in a split screen. It does open that, so I'll just open it here. I could literally then use my edit PDF. And maybe I want to make, maybe we make it level with existing restroom or something. I'm always trying to think of stuff to type in here. Let's make it in line with existing porch. So I've changed that text in the specification. You can see that's in there. Maybe just to make it obvious as well, I might just put a highlight on that bit of text just to make it clear that I've changed that. And now I'm going to right click, or I can check it back in. So if I hit the little blue here, I can check that back in. Add a comment, maybe changed floor level. Check it back in, making sure I put AC for changed. That's checked it back in. So now I have that updated one. You can see it's locked now because it's sort of, I've checked it back in. I don't have control over this document anymore. So you'll see now, I can see if I open it again, if I double click, you'll see that it's got that change in there. I can actually look at the revision history. So I can go and look at the revision history. I'll see that there's the first version, which is when it was initially added. And then there's where I changed the note and it's now version 1.1. As you've just seen, I did open the latest copy, which had that highlighted change. I could actually go back to this one and open that revision, which would open the original, which doesn't have that highlight and doesn't have that change, as you can see. I could then decide if we needed to restore that as the current one and supersede the old one. So you do have that access very much like just as a normal sort of FMS, like file management system, to keep up documents, have them on the cloud, update them, check them out, check them back in. You do need to use that sort of check-in, check-out system. In other words, multiple people can read the article at the same time, but you do need to check it out. And if I make a change in that, until I check it back in, that's not making it available for anyone else. So you are literally almost caching that PDF locally and then publishing it back up to the cloud for other people to access. Multiple people can access it at the one time. They just can't make changes at the same time. You do need to check it out. Again, you've got images and everything up here. So that opened that on my other screen. I'll bring that down so you can see I've got a dashboard here. I might go through dashboards before, but this is just simply an image that I've created and I've put like text boxes on it, and you can actually hyperlink these. That is what I do on a dashboard. You can hyperlink these to the plans which are stored on your project. So cloud, so this is where you can make it, where you can give someone basically a image, which is as a PDF. So you have this stored as a PDF and they have all these links. And they can literally go in and access all their plans, specifications, photos, etc. Anything you want to. I've done this for a residential type building. You can do it for whatever you choose. A real good way to make it very approachable for people who aren't used to studios. We can put an item from a studio directly up into a session. So I'm just going to do that now for this one. So I do have an architectural set of documents here. I can right click on that and I can add to a new session. So I'm going to put those documents straight up into a new session. Give it a name. Let's just call it architectural sample session, and okay. And that will create that in a session. You can see straight away it's actually jumped me into the session. It's currently uploading that document into this session. And we're starting to see that record. So I've joined the session and I've added that set in. You can see it's got that little session there. And if I open it up, it's just a normal PDF document with the pages attached. 3D PDF as well, which are a great feature if people aren't aware. I do have a webinar purely going through 3D PDFs and how they can be directly created from Revit and other CAD programs. So this is a session. You can see here it does have that little whiteboard symbol and it's pushed us up into a session. Do feel free if you want to go to your little plus. I'm currently in the session obviously, but do go to the little plus and you can join a session with that code. I'll go into the session details here or the session settings. And I currently have restricted attendees. I will just unrestrict it so anyone can access those documents. Do feel free to use that login. It is on the Australian server. I can lose the session. I can add an expiration date on the session as well. So there's a few session settings in here. I can add expiration dates, etc. Why would you add an expiration date? When I've used this in a drafting office, it's been great for people to like I basically like as a sort of chief drafty role. I just go, okay, we've finished the drawings, but they're ready to go to the client. Then I put it up into a session and I say, okay, if any of the engineers, any stakeholders want to make any comments before we issue these drawings, like for construction or for fabrication, whatever we need to issue them for, what I'll do is I'll put an expiration date on that. Come into the calendar here and just set that to usually like the next Thursday or something. And then I will close that. So that session will automatically expire. Then I can put that session directly to the drafting staff to then action all those comments. And it just allows, I can always change the date. So I can always reopen the session or whatever, but it sort of gives people, they get a notice, they say, well, it's expiring in a week or whatever, or in 2 days, get your comments in 2 days and just apply that. I won't do that. You can also change the different permissions for people. So you can set up groups or individuals where you give them different permissions. So you might deny them all able to add documents or full control and just allow them to mark up and save as and print, etc. You can see here who has joined and who has not joined. You can invite attendees by going to the little plus here. You can type or paste emails or use your address book. I will try not to bring up my address book here in front of everyone, but I can simply type or paste emails, and I can, yeah, I'm not going to do it, but I can paste it in, and then it will basically send an email. They will get an email, even like I said before, even if they're not active in Bluebeam or don't even have a license of Bluebeam, they will get an invite, they will get a link. I don't have the email here. I probably should have brought one up from before, but anyway, they will get an invite to the email. It will have a link to the session, which will take them directly to here. If they don't have Bluebeam, they will actually get a link to install Bluebeam, which they can use in view mode only to access, even if they don't have a license copy, and they can access that email. So that's how I can invite people. Any markups I make. So this is on the cloud. You don't need to save it or anything. It's live on the cloud. If I go to my tool set here and I start to make some markups. So if I sort of, start to, I don't know, just put some markups in and is incorrect. So that comment's gone on. You can actually see, if you did notice, then a little red arrow, like it just comes up very briefly. So what that's doing is, as that's coming up, it's basically saving it and sending it straight to the cloud. So you don't need to save it. Anyone who's in this session will see that markup straight away, immediately. If I go to my markups list down here, you will see that that comment's in here, and it's got the date and time that it was made. And yes, it is tracked to me as well. On the Ben, that's probably a bit more important than that one. Yep. And no one can tamper with that. Look, it's obviously a bit hard to demonstrate that I can't tamper with it because it's mine. Maybe if I went to one of these markups, you will see that because it's under my different username, or sorry, that markup, yep, it was done by me, but I've changed my username. So you can see how I can't actually change that markup. Like I'm clicking on it, I can't change the text or anything. So it's been locked to that user. I did change my username, probably in a, I can actually change, like you can become another user, but you just need to make sure the email name's the same, etc. But I could actually come in here and deny someone access and then shift those across all those markups to me as well. So I can't change someone else's markup, which is good and bad. That's probably the best thing about sessions and the worst thing about sessions. The best thing is that it does have that data integrity. So if someone does come up and like me and says this window is incorrect, I can't just come in and change that to correct. It does have that integrity where you can't just use someone else's markup. I can reply to that markup. So you'll see here that the window is incorrect. I can right click and I can actually reply to the markup. Come in here and say, no, it's right. Have spoken to client, or whatever you want to put in. And you'll see that that will put a little return. So I've got so I can tell that. And again, if I select it, I'll see in the markups list that the original comment, I'll see that it's got a reply to it, what it is. I can actually track, well, okay, the original comment was made at 12:30, or that next comment was made the next day or whatever. And who made the comment? I can see Ben made the comment and maybe Paul replied to it and said it's okay. And I can actually change the status of that as well. So I could right click and set the status and put in that that's been accepted, which will put that the status of that markup has been accepted and it's been set by me on that date and time. So that's where you can have that, avoid that rework, because people are putting in those comments and it's all being tracked and it's all there. So it's great. The statuses and custom columns and things like that, they need to be set in the PDF before you put it up into the session. You will see now that if I go to the markups list and go to columns, I can go to manage columns, but I can't create new custom columns. It does need to be done. Any custom columns you want, any statuses you want, you do need to set up prior. So you can see again, manage status. I can't change any of the statuses, etc. That needs to be done before you put it up. You can change the scale, but they will only change for you. Again, you need to set those scales up before you paste it up. So you can see here, as I've hit that scale not set to calibrate it, it's come up, it's in a session and it's got an embedded scale. So the scale's already set. If I want to change it, it will apply only to new measurements that I create. So it won't change it for everyone else. Generally, it's a good idea to set those scales before you set it up. You can see on the actual plan, I do have that scale set at 1 to 100. And yes, it's accurate. So if I go in, I'll just use an area measurement, or well, I've got wall measurements everywhere, not area measurements. I'll just do a measurement from on that square. And you can see how I'm getting that straight off. Being aware that, yeah, that's probably not the markup I want to use for this one, but you can see how that's got that area straight off. 18.74 square meters. Let's just sort of nut that out. We're looking at maybe 3 meters across, roughly 6 meters wide. So yeah, 18.74. And that's all up in there, and it's on the cloud session now. Again, so just going back to the sessions here, I'll just close that markups list. You can see that this record down the bottom here, this is really almost, I like to refer to this as sort of the minutes of the meeting. So it's really showing you like what's happened. So you can see I joined the session, added the markup, added that cloud detail, edited the cloud, changed the size a couple of times, moved it, edited the comments, set it as accepted, added my wall measurement. And if I click on anything in here, so if I go to that, yes, it'll take me straight to that markup. If I go to the reply or whatever, you'll see that as well. And so it's all in that markup. You can see who has joined and not joined the session. So if you have invited someone through email, you will see here, if you go to not joined, it will tell them that they haven't joined, and then you can right click on them and you can actually send them a reminder. You can put a comment in saying, look, like, you know, this expires by tomorrow. If you've got comments, you've got to get them in today, you know what I mean, and stuff like that. So you can send them a reminder through here if they haven't joined. If they have joined, you'll see it. You can set your own status. So if you are trying to, you know, let people know what's happening, you've got your status here, like my status, and you can change that, and you can have that you're finished and I've finished reviewing, it will come up there. Or you can put that I'm reviewing, currently reviewing. Or you can even put in here, you can customize and write your own, that you're like, I'm waiting for Jack or waiting for Paul or whoever. You can just type in whatever you want, and, you know, waiting for his comments or whatever, put in whatever you choose to. So you can change your own status, and then people can look at it and know, okay, all the engineers have finished, etc. If I do want to add new documents, yep, I can come down and add a file. I have full permissions on this, so I can simply come on, grab another PDF. And open that. And you'll see it's added that document on. So it's uploading, and I haven't currently got it open, but yes, if I click on it, it'll open that straight up, and I can go to that document. Again, you can see your sessions and your PDFs. Just what I was saying before about sort of hyperlinking and adding and putting links in and stuff like that. So what I'm going to do is I'll go to my dashboard here, go back, and I'm just going to show a quick way how to basically put a image on a PDF and put that in a session and have the links there, so it's all available for everyone. So I can go to File and New PDF. I can actually, yeah, so I'll just go to New PDF here, create a new one. I can use a whatever title or use a template if I want to. I'm just going to create a custom one. I'll probably make sure it's an A3 maybe, which is 297 by 210. So that's, yep, that's A3-ish, I think, off the top of my head. Do apologize. It's been a long week. Yep, that's an A3 size, A4 210 by 297. Yep, and A3 is 420 by 297. So this is an A4. I probably want to rotate that sheet. So I can just Control-Shift-P, oops, not Control-Shift-P, Control-Shift+, which will rotate it. I can, if I'm going to do that as well, I can go through my thumbnails here, select and rotate it. I don't think I've got that set up, so I'm just going to turn that clockwise 90 degrees, and that's that. I'm going to go to my dashboard. I'll download a copy of that. I'll just put it on my, let's put it on my desktop just so I can find it and save. Back to my document. Add that image in. So I can go to my image here. Find that file. And add that on. I can crop it to size as well. So I can crop the sheet to the size. So if I really wanted to sort of be a bit pedantic, which I always like to be, I can actually view and crop the window or document and crop the page. Crop just the one page and next, and then crop it to a size that I want to. So I'll just crop this to the crop box and OK. Probably need to crop it first of all. So let me, whoops. Let me just create a crop region. I'll just leave that at the moment. So what I'm going to do is just to show how this works quickly. I'm just going to hyperlink maybe my plans or my specifications to the specifications that's in the project. So what I can do is, first of all, I'm just going to flatten this one. So just flatten the actual image itself. So that's made the image not a markup. You can see now I can't just drag the image. It is part of that PDF. I'm going to create a hyperlink. So tools and hyperlink. I'm going to hyperlink an area. So I'm just going to hyperlink around that actual specification box there. And I'm going to get this to open and open a file. Open, and I should have projects done, which I don't think I've got, unfortunately. I should have made my project available through here, but I'll just point that to a folder, and I do have some sort of markups through here. I can get to a specification, maybe. Just under there, and you can see how it's going to open up that, and it's basically put a hyperlink on that. So you can see if I do hover on that, now it's actually an active link where it will open that folder and take me directly to those specifications. I can link this directly to a project where it's all stored on the cloud, rather than at the moment you can see that I'm pointing that to a file on my C drive, which is obviously not fantastic for people if you are going to put this on the cloud and let everyone access it. You can see how this is pointing to my C drive, which is probably not going to be totally useful if I do send that to someone. I can do it through the projects. There is a setting I need to change. So that's just a bit about how dashboards are quite good, and I can load this up onto a cloud again and put it even in a project where I give people access to that, and then they can link through to all their different items in the project through there. Yeah, no one's really got any questions. If you do, please put them in the chat. If you've got any questions, I'm quite happy to answer any questions anyone has. I will show a bit more with sessions. So I've sort of covered sessions reasonably full there. You can't, so if you did want to renumber sheets and things like that, you'll see that I can't actually insert pages. I can extract the pages, etc., but I can't actually insert new pages or documents. It's very much a live PDF set. So you can comment to it, etc. But the idea is that you can't, or the underlying PDF is locked down. So obviously there's not much point if I did an area measurement and then someone has come in and actually like replaced that page. So you'll see how you can't replace the page or delete the page, etc. Purely because otherwise that markup would stay there and the page would be deleted. So the sort of integrity of the PDF is retained. One thing you can do is just say if this was the end of the session, I can still get out my reports, etc., but I can leave the session through here. And I can also come down here, and because I'm the host or I have that full control, I can actually finish the session. So I'm just going to finish this session just to show you what happens. So if I finish this session, you'll see here I can include the markups, and obviously I'm the only one in it, but if I did have 10 people in it, I can include all their markups. I can save this in a folder and download it locally. I can actually overwrite the existing. So what that will do is, because I made this session from a project file, this will save or overwrite that existing one. I'm not going to do that. I'll keep the existing one as it was. I'll just save this locally in my folder. I should probably make sure that I throw it in my Bluebeam folder. And I'm going to also generate a report. There are some settings for that as well. So I might just put a record summary and put that in. And again, I'll probably just make sure I point that to my desktop and my Bluebeam folder. And okay. I might just make sure that in the settings that it is, yep. So it should open that report straight away. And you can see here, I've got the report and the markup. It's basically, you can see now that architectural set, it is now doesn't have the studio symbol. And you can see the studio is, or the session has finished. You can see I've got a full report here. So you can see who the attendees were. You can see what documents were up, and you get that full record as well. So you can see exactly the status was set, the wall measurement added, what the wall measurement was, and you get that full report of what happened. A very good way to sort of close it off. So if you, what I used to do at a lot of different companies is you'd actually put like a current tender set up, or like a current detailed design set up. You'd let everyone make their comments. And once you were then going to that next stage of the project, you would finish the session, get all the comments. So they would all be in there, and then you would have that as a record. So not that anyone's going to court or whatever, but you would basically have in there, you know, that everyone's proved it or made these comments, and it's there on record that you have. So it's a great thing to then just package away and store in your archive. Yes, as you saw before, I could actually store that in my DMS, in my studio project, and have that as a file of like archived projects, or have it for a particular project and have it closed. You can use this offline if you do happen to be in Antarctica or something. Generally, everyone's got that internet access or hotspotting their phones or whatever. If you do happen to, and I don't have a session open, do let me open just another session here. So you can see this is a session I had before, probably pretty similar to the same project. You can see where I put a heap of markups. They're probably all done by me again, but yeah, you've got all the replies, etc. If I did happen to select that one again, I can probably change it because it's probably my markup. No, I can't. So yeah, you can see I've got all those markups. And if you happen to be offline, you can see here there's a little connected line here. Now I can just simply select that, which will make it offline. And okay. Now you can see I've got the broken connection. What I can do now is it's actually cached it down onto your local machine from the cloud. So I can make additional markups. So even if I just did a simple cloud and did one around the number 2 there. Oh. Yeah, so if I'll go to my tool set and do a cloud from there. If I did do a cloud just around that number 2. You can see what that's doing is as I'm doing it, it's putting the red box on it, like the little red cloud here. The more I zoom in, the smaller it gets. But you can see it's basically made that change because I don't have access. It's basically put that in as a pending change, and it hasn't actually put that into the record on the cloud as yet. So it is a pending change. But as soon as I get that internet access back, you'll see at the moment that it's not in the record. And as soon as I click back again to connect back to the cloud, it's connected, and you can see it's put that into the cloud, and it's taken it out of my pending. Yes, I can notify someone to that change. Funnily enough, again, I'm the only one in this session, but I can right click and I can actually let people know of that change. Because I'm the only one in it, it's probably not the best idea. Obviously, I can't really notify it to myself, but you can. It'll have in here alert person to the change, and you can pick who you want to. They will get an email. It'll basically have a picture of that markup, and they will have a hot link that will take them straight to that session and straight to that markup for that input. So if you needed to ask like the engineer, well, I want to change that to B, were we talking about moving this to B? You can put that in him. You can alert that to him directly, and he can comment straight away from his email, which will spit him straight into the session where he can answer that directly. That probably concludes our sort of bit of a rundown of sessions and projects. Hopefully everyone's found that quite informative. It really is a great feature that is part of Bluebeam. It's probably, a lot of companies do use it. It's quite widely used. Some people aren't aware of it, and if you're not aware of it, it really is a bit of a game changer, specifically for that collaboration. You can have the architect, everyone in that one session on the latest set of drawings, which you can constantly update, and people can put their comments in, and it really just creates that collaboration, which will make your projects run better. You'll have less overruns, less rework, etc. Do reach out. We are your Bluebeam provider. We can do discovery sessions, see where some pinch points are in your companies, where we can see if it's being underutilized or any training that's needed. We can do rapid starts. Rapid starts are quite good. They're where we can come in and do like training sessions and bring it in and introduce it, and then see again where you need training and get people set up. Offer standardization and integration, so we can make up some tool sets as well and show how you can get everyone using the same text, same colors, same markups, so that everyone in your company knows that blue means comment, red means action, etc., and really set in like colors and things like that, so it's all standardized through your office. Providing manuals, Blueburst, where we do like little lunch and learns. A few companies we've done with, they've found them quite successful. We can do like a 45-minute lunch and learn, do like a session sort of every fortnight, and it really engages the staff and things like that, and really has we've found great pickup and people really utilizing their Bluebeam a lot more after those sessions. Not any questions have really come through. Thank you for attending. Please reach out. to myself or Sam Crompton, who's really in charge of our licensing and that, and one of our BDMs for Cloud A2K, please reach out to us through our website if you need any further questions or if we can help you with any of your Bluebeam needs. Thank you.